What?
I just stepped in shit too.
Terrible idea.
Okay, so today I want to talk to you guys a little bit about something I've been struggling a lot with in most of 2020, and that is Instagram. As I've gravitated more toward video in my career, I've really started to kind of lose touch with my own photography, especially when it comes to posting on Instagram. A lot of my content in the past has focused pretty exclusively on the work and travel I've been doing. But since 2020 has been, well, you know, the thought of like having to get out and go somewhere cool, like put in a ton of effort just for an Instagram post, it gets really overwhelming. And in a lot of cases, it like distracts me from focusing on my larger, more important projects. Not to mention that if I need to shoot content of myself, by myself, it can be pretty difficult without the right game plan or equipment. I came across a couple of videos from my good friends Tyler Babin and YC Imaging about how they created 1 week's worth of Instagram content in 24 hours. I'll be sure to link the videos down below if you guys want to check those out. Something like this sounds really appealing to me, especially considering the things that I've been currently struggling with my own content. So today I want to give that a shot and see what I can come up with, and hopefully have some helpful tips for you guys along the way. Okay, so I think the first step is gonna be to come up with a little bit of a game plan, kind of figure out how many posts we wanna create, what kinds of shots we're looking for, create like a little bit of like a list so when we're actually shooting, it doesn't get overwhelming, considering we're trying to literally create a week's worth of content. I wanna try and create 7 dedicated Instagram posts, like actual posts on the feed. And then to go along with each of those, a unique story to actually post on the same day, just to kind of help bring like a little bit more traction and engagement. Nothing cheesy or corny, just like the new post alert, something actually unique and cool that will help drive engagement. This is what I've come up with so far. Basically, I want to create a few different types of content. I want to do a few portraits of myself. I want to do a post that's focused kind of specifically about gear. I want to do one of those cinematic kind of like frames, those stack of 3 frames. You guys might have seen that on my feed before, showing the before and after color grades. I want to do a photo that's kind of like festive, like lifestyle, holiday themed, because we're coming into the holiday season, so I feel like that's kind of fitting. And then I want to do a post that's kind of talking about a recent YouTube video or something, or an upcoming project that I'm working on. And then lastly, I want to shoot like a cool architecture or like landscape shot, something that's actually like my own photography and not just like photos of me, if that makes sense. Now, since we're shooting all of these photos on the same day, we're obviously gonna need a few different outfits and maybe some props to kind of keep things interesting. And of course, because a lot of these photos are gonna be shot by myself, of myself, a good tripod is gonna be pretty important. So this first shot that I want to go ahead and try and knock out. Timeout, guys. I have to apologize because a lot of the audio in this video is clipping because I accidentally enabled the plus 20 dB gain on my Rode video mic, and so throughout the day there's some pretty rough spots I might have to voice over. Anyways, back to the video. Is a self-portrait, something I'm gonna shoot myself with nobody else's help. Looking around, something that's immediately catching my eye, this ambient lighting kind of underneath these benches. I also really like what's happening with these little hanging lights back here. They make some interesting kind of practical lights that add some depth. And so I think I want to try and kind of frame something up where I'm sitting on this bench, maybe on my phone. So obviously when it comes to shooting a self-portrait like this, one of the most critical things you're gonna need is a good tripod. And if you happen to have a camera that has a Wi-Fi connection that you can connect to your phone, you can use your phone as like a wireless monitor to actually preview your shot, help get yourself framed. But I'm gonna go ahead and assume that not everybody's camera has Wi-Fi built in, and so we're gonna do it the old-fashioned way with good old self-timer. So I'm not super in love with how that frame looks. The reflections on the glass are kind of distracting. There's just kind of a lot going on. It's not necessarily a bad shot, but I think we can do better. There's a lot of stuff around here. So generally, and here's one of those bad spots. So generally, my approach to taking self-portraits like this is to, instead of trying to frame yourself up and do the self-timer thing from the very beginning, take the time to perfect the shot, shoot around, identify your composition before you actually stick yourself in the frame. This makes it a lot easier so you don't have to run back and forth as you're adjusting your composition trying to get things right. Is it going? Ah. I don't know. Take off the mask because there's not necessarily really any people around here, and so it looks a little better in photos. Okay, so we've given it a lot of tries. Turns out posing yourself on stairs, trying to like make the walking motion look natural is a little bit harder than I thought. I think we got something that'll work, so we'll go ahead and move on from here. So we're down here in the lobby of my apartment complex, and I've been eyeing this fireplace for quite a while. It's like this cool like lounge kind of upscale look. I thought of an idea of doing kind of like a bougie photo down here, maybe like sipping on some champagne. So might as well do it for real. So I'm gonna try and be respectful here and not shoot this straight into the ceiling and make a mess everywhere. Oh. Okay, we did it. All right, so we're heading over to the next location. This one is actually pretty close by. It's just right down the street underneath some bridges. I've kind of been eyeing this spot for a little while. There's a lot of cool symmetry and kind of like modern street stuff. We're meeting up with Tyler Babin. You guys saw him in my most recent beach video. He's gonna help me take these photos. If you have people around you who create similar content to you, don't hesitate to reach out. I get it, sometimes it can be intimidating to approach other creators. Maybe you've been following someone for a while, you might comment on each other's posts or reply to each other's stories here and there. Reach out, but it's important to make a genuine impression, not just like a, yo, let's link and shoot. Like, have a real conversation. Chances are they could use a hand or inspiration when it comes to shooting IG content too. God damn it. Like, what?
Finds you like a weird opportunity to give some sort of like really deep, intense caption about how like sometimes life gets shitty. Yeah. That's it. Cool. Awesome. All right. It's for you.
Sir.
Later. Appreciate
it. So, I recognize that not all of you are gonna have access to someone in your life who's an actual photographer. But more often than not, I can guarantee you that there's probably at least somebody in your life who knows how to click a shutter button. This at least takes some of the initial roadblocks out of shooting photos by yourself. So grab a friend, grab your mom, grab your brother, call your grandma. She probably misses you. But imagine them sort of like a human tripod. So now instead of having to use a tripod and self-timer and having to run back and forth to the camera over and over, you have a second set of hands and eyes. With this approach, you'll still need to be hands-on in the sense that you'll need to direct them in order to get the shot. The best way to go about this would be to use them as the subject in the shot while you identify the frame that you're after. So place them in the frame, nail your exposure, posing, composition, and then just simply swap places. This may take a few tries to get right, but hopefully this should allow you to get the photo that you're after without having to use a tripod. This of course will probably take a few tries to get right, but with a little teamwork, you should be able to get the shot that you're after pretty simply. So I have my lovely girlfriend with me here, and she's gonna be the subject temporarily. We're gonna walk around. I'm going to identify kind of the frame I'm after. Right behind me, there's this really cool boat just randomly sitting out here with like Christmas lights and stuff on it. I'm gonna hold my black magic, kind of use that as a prop, and I think we'll create something pretty cool. Okay, so I think I've pretty much identified the shot that I'm after with this boat here. We're gonna take a couple variations, like a wider one, full body, and then maybe like a little bit tighter, kind of just like mid shot, upper torso. But now I've shown her the shots that I've taken, so we're just gonna swap places. Camera settings are already all dialed in. She's just gonna play around and shoot some stuff and hopefully get what we're after. That's pretty close. since I've been reflecting more on Instagram and the presence of my brand on the platform, I've been looking for better ways to bridge the gap between my YouTube channel and the things that I feature on Instagram. Although the majority of my Instagram posts usually tend to be photos, I think I've finally found a better way to share my video work and behind the scenes clips with you guys through dynamic stories made with Canva, which just so happens to be the sponsor of today's video. Let me start by reassuring you that you don't have to be a professional to make professional grade photo and video content. And yeah, look, like I get it. There are hundreds of graphic design apps out there, but let's face it, most of them are like way too basic and cheesy or just really simply don't give you as much customization as you would want or need. Canva is different. I mean, you can literally pretty much do it all within Canva. Things like collages, logos, YouTube thumbnails, Twitter headers, Facebook headers, but my personal favorite is animated social media posts and stories. To me, this is probably Canva's biggest advantage when it comes to content creation because they recognize that video and animated posts generally tend to receive a lot more engagement than static posts. Now, when it comes down to choosing between the free membership and Canva Pro, both obviously give you guys access to templates that are easy to customize when it comes to importing your photo and videos, changing dimensions, font sizes, colors, adding music. But the biggest advantage I've seen with the Canva Pro subscription is the truly unlimited number of ways to create content to connect with your audience. We're talking access to over 70 million photos, I think like 2.5 million videos, 4.5 million different graphics. It's pretty nuts. Not to mention literally double the amount of user customizable templates. Using Canva Pro, I was able to create these dynamic and unique Instagram stories to go along with each of my posts over the next 7 days, which should ultimately help to drive a little bit more engagement to my Instagram posts as well as my YouTube channel. So if you're interested in trying out Canva Pro, they're hooking you guys up with a free 45-day subscription. So click the link down in the description if you want to give it a shot. It's truly the most simple way to set your vision into motion. Honestly, I gotta say, I'm pretty happy with how this whole thing turned out. It was definitely pretty rushed, but overall, like the content we've come up with is definitely a lot better than I expected. One of the things I think I really took away from doing this challenge was actually a point Babin emphasized in his video.
Sometimes I do, however, think though there is a benefit in pursuing quantity over quality. Gary would always say is that like quantity produces quality. That even though I spent a bunch of hours today creating a handful of good images, I think in a lot of ways that made me a better photographer than what it would have been if I would have spent the same amount of time creating one great image.
And I wholeheartedly agree with this. Nowadays, I really don't shoot photos a whole lot. I've really been focusing on video a ton. But the times that I do go out and shoot, I tend to really over perfect the shots that I'm taking. But doing this challenge and really forcing myself to kind of get out of my comfort zone and just go out and create in a very short time frame, but try and get a larger quantity of photos, I really think helped me improve. Instagram can be an extremely powerful platform for us as creators when done strategically. It's a platform that thrives off of consistency. So because keeping up with the content flow and staying relevant to your audience can really get overwhelming, a plan is essential, especially if you're someone like me who juggles work in multiple areas, like doing freelance client work on top of maintaining a YouTube channel. Lately, I've been making it a point to try and become more organized and intentional with my time and creativity, not only with my work, but also in day-to-day life. I think in a lot of ways it showed me that I can keep up with the Instagram grind if I just introduce a little more structure and effort up front. Look guys, I get it. Taking on a project like this yourself, especially if you don't have an extra set of hands or you don't have other photographers around you, can definitely be daunting at first. But hopefully now you have a little bit of an idea and some tools on how you can do it for yourself. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up the video here, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to give it a thumbs up. Just go down there and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video.